Sheikh, in order to cut to the chase, my question is, what should an Islamic wedding party look like? What does it look like? Because I know what not to do. I know there's no free mixing. I know that the husband and wife, like normally in weddings, they are on stage together where all eyes are on them, mahrams and non-mahrams included. They cut the cake together. They have music, dancing. So if we are not allowed to do this, like how do we actually conduct a proper Islamic wedding? Jazakumullahu khairan.
Wajazakum. Well, as you have clearly stated, we have an Islamic wedding and a non-Islamic wedding. And this tends to spark some aggravation and some resentment in the hearts of those cultural Muslims. We have real Muslims who say, according to the Qur'an, without any questions asked, سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا غُفْرَانَكَ رَبَّنَا. They have no problem with the rulings of Islam when it comes to them illustrated and displayed from the Quran and from the Sunnah. They completely comply. These are real Muslims. There are cultural Muslims who are Muslims by ID card, by birth. So when there's a clash between their culture, their customs, and Islam, they prefer to follow their culture and customs. And definitely, you can't argue with such people because they don't care. When you tell them this goes against Qur'an and Sunnah, said, this is the culture. This is what we found our forefathers doing. Exactly as described in the Qur'an when the Prophet ﷺ came to the idol worshippers. Telling them about Islam, they said, this is what we found our forefathers doing and worshipping. So we are on their way. Now, an Islamic wedding is a wedding where there is no haram in it. Number one, it is fully segregated. So men are segregated from women totally. They don't see one another. The men are feasting and having their talks and gathering alone. No women, no maids, no waitresses, nothing. It's all men. And the women are segregated in their hall. No waiters come to serve, no men come and see them in their full glamour and beauty. A'udhu billah. No Muslim would allow this to his mom, to his sister, to his daughter, let alone his wife, in her bridal wedding dress and in her full makeup. You're not a man. You're not a real man. You're a wimp when you allow your brother, your uncle, and strangers and neighbors to come and watch your wife snap photographs of her. What kind of a man are you, man? Yeah, give me a break. Men sit, and it's a cultural thing. Whatever they want to do, as long as they don't go against Qur'an and Sunnah, that's fine. There's no music. There is no dancing for men. There is no haram activities done. Anything else goes. Women, on the other hand, are different. The Prophet recommended that there would be some form of chanting, playing the duf, and dancing would be fine in a proper way. This is a joyful night. So women love to have fun. And this is what the Prophet said to Mother Aisha, alayhi salatu wasalam, and may Allah be pleased with her, when she came back from wedding. And she said, I was at a wedding. So the Prophet said, did you have some nasheed? Did you have some duf playing and the likes? Because the Ansar love to hear such chants and nasheeds and songs. Yes, there's Nothing haram. There are no musical instruments. There's no DJ coming to mix music, and the music is totally prohibited. But nasheeds and chanting and beautiful lyrics and enjoying themselves, totally halal. Go ahead and have fun. So the haram things must be avoided. And that is what is labeled as an Islamic wedding. Not a specific format, not a specific culture or tradition. No, it's open. Those who have their Indian culture, Pakistani culture, Middle Eastern culture, Western culture, there's no problem. Providing that you scrutinize it, you filter it through the Qur'an and the Sunnah so that nothing haram is being practiced. And there's nothing wrong in having fun, but don't cross the line. Don't have any type of mixing between the genders, no types of music. Don't exceed the limit, staying late at 1 or 2 o'clock a.m. and then end up wasting Fajr time and people don't pray. Don't exaggerate and be extravagant in throwing food in the dumpster because nobody ate it, and you cook a lot of food and nobody eats it, and the likes, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Are wedding expenses to be divided by both groom's and bride's family, or only by the groom's family? My father has no problem in spending half the amount of the walima, but the groom's family say that usually nikah expenses are done by the bride's family and the walima expenses by the groom's family. What is your advice, Sheikh? Because in the subcontinent we have nikah on the day and the walima the next day. First of all, the walima is usually done after the marriage has been consummated. Whether you do it on the same night or the night before, it's not a problem. You can do it either way you wish. The walima in Islam is the sole responsibility of the groom. And by the way, everything related to the marriage, financially, is the responsibility of the groom. So it's the boy who pays the dowry or the mahar, not the other way around. Women and their families are prohibited from giving the boy anything as a dowry, like in the subcontinent, because this is the doing of the Hindus. Muslims don't do that. Women are more honorable to be forced to pay for their marriage. We honor women. We don't accept this. In Islam, it's haram. It's prohibited. So it's the boy who gives the mahar, the dowry. It's the boy who also pays for the walima. Now, this is Islamic in the sense that I want to get married, I propose, I give the mahar, I get married, and I throw a small party. The Prophet ﷺ, when he saw Abdurrahman ibn Auf, may Allah be pleased with him, and he looked fresh. So he said, why do you look so fresh? He said, I just got married. He said, okay, in this case, throw a walima even by one sheep. So he did not tell him to hire a hall in a fancy, expensive hotel. Rather, the minimum would be a sheep, and it can be less than that. The concept is to gather few Muslims to feast, celebrate, and eat. That's it. Now, people have forced themselves into customs that are not part of Islam. Like Rihanna says that they insist that the walima is to be done by the groom and the wedding party to be done by the girl's family. And this is nothing related to Islam. Yes, in most Arab countries, in my country, they have what is known as milka. And this is the marriage contract. The marriage is not consummated, only the writing of the marriage contract. And they throw a party. Then we have the wedding night, where the marriage would be consummated. And the girl would move into her husband's house. And this is, they claim that the woman has to pay for this. But this is not part of Islam. This is cultural. So, as Muslims, we cannot burden the girl's family to make a wedding. Now you as a groom, you have to throw the walima. He said, Sheikh, I did that already. I had the marriage contract, I threw the walima, and I invited my relatives and my loved ones, and from the girl's family, we got like 5 or 10 people. Khalas, alhamdulillah, it's done. Yeah, but the wedding night, you want a wedding night? Your family wants a wedding? You throw a wedding. You can't ask the girl's family to throw a wedding that would consume 5 times the mahar, the dowry that you had paid. Be a man and don't ask for something that is not yours. So you want a mahar? Oh, no problem. You want a wedding night? No problem. But if you want to reach an agreement, for example, most people would say, yeah, we would like to have a wedding night for our daughter, but we would like to have it small and only for like 50 or 40 members of our family. And we may invite 5 or 10 from the groom's family. Now, if the groom's family say, no, we would like to invite more of our people, tell you what, we'll share the expenses. We'll pay half of it. We'll pay 30%, 70%. Depends on the agreement, the mutual agreement between the two families, without one being forced to do something he does not want. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best.